reading this made me angry at some stuff in the show. That's weird. Geralt, you were a witcher. Geralt, fuck. Wind's howling. Yeah. And I went on rants, like, I think it's recorded, some of my rants, where I'm like, why do people hate the show? Like, you're just being bitter. And I'm such a hypocrite. I don't hate the show. I would watch it again, but I'd probably watch it with a grumpy face, because while I think it's a good enough adaptation, it's definitely its own thing. And I don't know if the show captures like the essence of his writing and the world as opposed to the games. Like, the games aren't canon, but they get it, I feel. One of us. You'll hate the season 2 then. No, I watched season 2. Hey, New, we're doing good. The show's completely different from the books. So I kind of want to talk about the Last Wish story specifically, because it's fresh in my mind. But that one, at the end of that, I cried because I did not realize just how beautiful it would be. Y'all, Geralt and Yen are like in love. They are in love. Hi, Neil. And I don't know if this is revealed. I asked Kayla, but I wanted to know what the last wish was. And he said it's never said, but it has something to do with Yen. Also didn't know that no one had called her Yen before. Guys, when I tell you I cried at that point, like, that is just so sweet. And I kind of like if they don't ever say what explicitly the wish was. I think that's very, very romantic and just like really sweet. It's a cute moment. Yes. Hey, Cobble. I played The Witcher 3 before I read the books. I guess that's me too. But Sapkowski liked the games up until a payout dispute. Okay. Didn't Geralt say the wish out loud? It didn't say. It doesn't say in there. It doesn't say what exactly it is. But he looks at her. He looks right at her and he's just like, she's everything. Everything. And it made me cry. And I love that before there was even magic involved, before she could potentially influence him or whatever, he was drawn to her from the beginning. Like, he goes and brings her apple juice because she just like is very thirsty, and then she's just like, I can tell you're a good person because you bring a woman what she needs. Yeah, they keep the wish secret. Whatever he said, she is flabbergasted. I think that's so romantic because it had to do with her. And y'all told me there is a quest coming up called The Last Wish. And that, to me, just like really solidifies I want him to be with her if possible. I have never read a character like Yen. Ever, especially in fantasy. Usually if there's like a female protagonist, some newer fantasy books I've read with female protagonists, they have that same sort of like spunk and yada yada, but to have a male protagonist and this is the love interest and she bosses him around and she knows what she wants and she's transparent with what she wants and she'll do whatever to get it, which I think a lot of her objective is to be a mother and to cure her infertility, which in a way is selfish, but the thing I appreciate about Yen is that she's honest about that, and there's no question. Like, there are men and other sorceresses like Philippa who want power and they want control, but like this girl just she really wants a kid, and like she really wants to be a mom, and she wants to cure her infertility, and like she's transparent about that. And I just think it's like, I don't know, I really like it. Hi Bamba. And I like that she's multifaceted. I really like that they're not trying to, like, Sapkowski didn't try to make her to be this perfect woman, because she's not. She already has all the power, and she'll do what she has to do to get what she wants and stuff. And some of her actions are questionable, but again, it's that transparency that I really, really like about her. So I have some notes. Women of post-war Poland. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Really strong. And it's not even like, I don't know about having strong female characters, because, you know, I feel like we've seen that. We know women are strong. What I really appreciate is a woman who's a bunch of things and who can have bad qualities and be thirsty and sultry and have a history of being, you know, a hunchback, but then be beautiful now. And like, I just feel like he captures women in their wholeness, if that makes sense. Is there a character that is way different in the book than you imagined? No, Dandelion, I feel like, is pretty much the same through the show and the game and the book. And I love their relationship, though. I feel like I'm getting more of a backstory on Geralt and Dandelion's relationship. Like, I don't know. It's cute. I love how they just fuck around. Oh my god, I'm sorry, Neil. Having gray characters, which is literally, sorry to say this, but every human is gray. Even your idols. Every human is gray. So there's that. So I have only a few notes, so I'll just say what I wrote. The first intro to Geralt, so like the first short story. The first intro to Geralt is smart bartering, which I loved. Like, I kind of wish that I had read this one before I started the games, because I was like, I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to barter for money, because as soon as you meet Geralt, he's already negotiating his price with someone, and he knows how to do it well. And I think that's empowering. And we were talking about it last time, but he's a small business owner and he knows he's good at what he does. And also, at times he's starving because he can't afford food. So I kind of loved that. Like, I feel like with a lot of fantasy books, the main male character especially is very whiny and is like the chosen one, but doesn't want to be the chosen one. And poor guy. But he's just like, he's witty, he's smart. If he gets himself and his friends into a shitty situation, he thinks quickly. He knows how to talk to people mostly. He knows how to like get out of situations without too much violence to an extent. Right, Andy? Oh, okay. So I loved when I love how detective-y he is in the stories, because that I did not see that in the shows at all. Maybe I'm misremembering. I am Nick. Thank you so much for the brand new sub. Thank you. I just love his like train of thought. He literally says it out loud, like da 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 da, this and this and this. Like, I think this is the Bruxa quest. But he literally says it out loud, and he'll talk to Roach. That's just so cool. You know, I think he talked to Roach a bit in the show, but I feel like with the games, they really encapsulated that well, where he just gets down and it's like scientific, like he does autopsies and stuff. It's very intelligent, very smart. Nivelin? Oh. So the next note I did was when he was talking to Stregobor, and so this was with the Renfrey thing, which I loved that story so much. I really liked, he says to Stregobor that he makes it clear, and this happened a few times in these short stories, he makes it clear he's not a hired thug. He's not an assassin. And that was because Stregobor is trying to get him to kill Renfrey, and they don't really know if Renfrey is a monster. Like, I don't know. I just really like that he's like, you can't just hire me to kill someone. Witchers have a code. And also, you have messed things up and created these monsters that you speak of with magic, and it's the result of your own actions, and you can't use witchers to just like fix it for you by killing. Yes, Telly, for sure. What's this say? Oh, and then he also says, I'm no judge, I'm a witcher, which I thought was really interesting because, again, so many moments, even though he says evil is evil and I don't want to take part in it, even though he says I'm no judge, I'm a witcher, you still do kind of have to act as the judge, especially in these side quests. You have to think quick on your feet and decide who you want to support, and the evidence that's laid out for you and your intuition. You have to use a lot of stuff. So I think it's funny that he's like, I'm not a judge. You kind of have to. She goes, Renfrey lowered her head, but only for a moment. Her eyes flashed. I'm supposed to be cursed, contaminated in my mother's womb. I'm supposed to be, yes, a monster. And are you? For a fleeting moment, she looked helpless, shattered, and very sad. I don't know, Geralt, she whispered, and then her features hardened again. Because how am I to know, damn it? When I cut my finger, I bleed. I bleed every month, too. I get a bellyache when I overeat and a hangover when I get drunk. When I'm happy, I sing, and I swear when I'm sad. When I hate someone, I kill them. But enough of this. And that's like Geralt too. And the quote that they use on the front is, people like to invent monsters and monstrosities, then they seem less monstrous themselves. And it's like, how is she really different from Geralt? How is she really different from any of these humans that kill people and kill way more people? Like, I feel like these stories really dealt with what is a monster really. Hi, London! It is book club! Nick, happy birthday! He contradicts himself a lot during his development, and the no feeling mask that he tries to show to others. Yes, I loved in the last story. Sorry, I'm jumping around. But he goes in to save Yennefer, even though they called it a death wish and like suicide. He goes into fighting the genie laughing, and he tries to like still his laughness, but his laughter, but he's laughing, and he actually has a lot of emotion. It's really cute, especially with the humor. Okay, so I think I loved the Yennefer short story, The Last Wish, but then my other favorite was with the voice of reason, where he's talking to Iola. And first of all, the ending is really cryptic and I need to read more. Like, Jesus, like, is she okay? I don't know. But this, so she can't speak, right? And he's having like a romantic kind of spiritual relationship with her, which Neneke, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name, kind of encouraged. But I love this one where he is going on this freaking monologue about his home. Like the first line is, "Let's talk. I need this conversation. They say silence is golden. Maybe it is, although I'm not sure it's worth that much. It has its price, certainly. You have to pay for it." And he goes, "You ask what I believe in. In that case, I believe in the sword. I believe in the sword." Because, and then he starts to talk about how he carries two, like a steel sword and a silver sword. And he talks about the meteorite, which I didn't know about, and like the significance of the meteorite with the silver sword. And it's like, you've probably made a wish on one. Perhaps it was one more reason for you to believe in the gods. For me, a meteorite is nothing more than a bit of metal primed by the sun in its fall. Metal to make swords. Like, he's so scientific. But another thing is, I love his relationship with these priestesses. I love that the through line is him with Neneke, sorry, and his relationship with her, because they're so different. Like, she believes in gods, he doesn't. He's not religious at all, but they get along. They care for each other. She's helping him with medicine. Like, I just love that Geralt could potentially get along with everyone, and I like their characters together as foils. But he's just talking to this priestess that can't speak, and he's talking about Kaer Morhen, and then he talks about his first monster kill and how he was so optimistic, and his first monster was a human rapist, and he slaughtered him to save the girl, but then the girl ended up being scared of Geralt. And that was like a very defining moment for him, because it wasn't just like, I'm trained to be a witcher and I'm gonna help people. It's like, oh shit, people aren't gonna really appreciate me, and they're gonna still be scared of me, and I'm not gonna really know who monsters are, etc., etc. The shows and the games make him seem like he's quiet, but he actually talks a whole lot in the books. Yeah. Hi, Sad Muffin. Hi, Lady Crazy Nut. Yes, his philosophy. And then to start with a conversation, like the short stories start with a conversation between him and the priestess, where she's just trying to get him to believe in gods, and like, she's kind of teasing him about that. And it ends with him making a wish to be bonded with someone he loves, and he probably for the first time is like believing in romance and faith, and like kind of finding his religion there. Yeah, Andy. And how he was enthusiastic about that. Like, he started off optimistic, trying to be, noble and fight for justice, but over time it's just worn him down, where he does, in order to keep his sanity, he has to just focus on it being a job and working for money. And I think a lot of us can relate to that with our dream jobs and like, I don't know, stuff we have to do, and we start off so optimistic and happy, and then it's just like, in order to keep our sanity, we have to think of it as a job. And then the monologue, he's going like kind of spiraling, and he starts talking about Renfri, because it fucks with him. Like, the Butcher of Blaviken instance, that's like traumatic for him, and it was traumatic for me to read. But he's talking to her about it, and he goes, I thought I was choosing the lesser evil. I chose the lesser evil. I'm Geralt, Witcher, ... I'm the butcher of Blaviken. Don't touch me. You might see, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to know. Like, that's written so well. Like, he's not okay. He's not okay. And that was so validating for me to read, because I read that soon after the Baron quest line, and I still think about, like, was that the right thing to do to save the kids, yada yada yada. And in my life, I still think, even though I'm pretty confident in decisions I make and them being the right decisions and like taking care of people and protecting people, I still to this day, you know, as I'm falling asleep, think about it and ask myself, did I do the right thing? And so to see our hero weak and spiraling and nervous and just like, I chose the lesser evil. I did. Like, he's clinging on to that, but also isn't proud of it. Like, it's just very validating. And I feel like we try to be the best versions of ourselves. We try to be good people. And I feel like Geralt is a great example of, like, if you even start to doubt yourself, if you consider, like, did I do the right thing? You're on the right track. You know, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to make the perfect decisions all the time. But the fact that you even want to is proof that you can be like Geralt and you can do good regardless. Some of these notes make no sense. Trying to figure out morality in an immoral world. Yes, and it resonates with like a lot of us millennials, especially because we grow up and I think we were very optimistic about things, and then 9/11, wars, climate change, pandemic. There's so much stuff that's thrown at us, and it's like, how do we figure out our morality in a time like this? I agree, Primeval. I agree 100%. He's very, very intelligent and like a quick thinker on his feet. He's really good under pressure. This is another note about him being adamant that he's never killed people for money. I think that's something that he struggles with, like the image of a Witcher. He really wants to make it clear to people he does not just like kill a random person for money. He's not an assassin. And he says that to Calanthe, I think. Oh, I also love that Pavetta, I think, and Calanthe, I'm not sure about Calanthe, but they have ash gray hair. And Ciri in the games has ash gray hair. Not this super light blonde. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the color of her hair was identical to her mother's, ash gray. Yes. Like, what? I don't understand what happened in the shows. And then some cat school witcher comes and ruins that image. Yes, that's so true. Day, that's so true. And I think like that's why his relationship with Letho is interesting, because it pisses him off, because he's like, I don't kill kings. I'm not the assassin of kings. And it frustrates him because it's like a distorted mirror and it's giving witchers a bad name. Yeah, Cryptic, I do. They thought Mousy met Brown. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited to read more Ciri. I'm so excited. Like, apparently she's very different from the show. So, hi, Ruby. Good to see you. Thanks, y'all, for being civil with this. I know I'm talking a lot, but if you have any thoughts after I get through all my post-its, I would love to hear them. Oh, I love how he sasses people, especially like sorcerers and magicians and stuff, and like rich people, about how they they've messed about with magic and witchers wouldn't even be needed if they didn't just freaking perform weird experiments and stuff. I like how sassy he is. I loved his conversation with Calanthe. Like, I love that he can be respectful, but he can't help but be sassy and witty with royalty. He doesn't care. I love ashy gray though. That's so cool. Because it's like white, basically. Oh, I loved his conversation with the elf, Philavandrel. I loved that when he's tied up with Dandelion. I loved what both of them said, because the elves do have a right to be so pessimistic, but I do like that Geralt kind of called him on his shit and was just like, okay, then just like head to a corner of the world, don't show your face, like if you're gonna be so pessimistic. I'm trying to find like, and the thing is, Philavandrel said legit stuff. Unlike you humans, we never cultivated the lands. Unlike you humans, we never tore at it with hoes and plows. To you, the earth pays a bloody tribute. It bestowed gifts on us. You tear the earth's treasures from it by force. For us, the earth gave birth and blossomed because it loved us. Well, no love lasts forever, but we still want to survive. And then Geralt's like, instead of stealing grain, you can buy it. As much as you need. You can trade. But it's just like, it's a good conversation. It's not that one person is right, one person is wrong. They're just having a conversation as two oppressed, marginalized people from different groups. Like, having a conversation about life, which you know humans would never do. Right, Yama, so true. Yes, exactly, Shin. And Geralt's like, you have to cohabit, but then Philavandrel's like, cohabit on your terms, you know, cohabit as what? Slaves, pariahs. And the reason Philavandrel is so upset is because to him, witchers are just like kind of trying to be humans. Like they're trying to just kill monsters, which I think the default for the world was monsters. It wasn't humans, at least from what I gathered. Like there used to be even more monsters roaming around, and humans fucked it up, which is very relevant to today. And he's just like, you are complicit in the system. And that's why Geralt's like, well, why can't you understand? Like, why can't you just try to like integrate? And then the elf's like, cause we can't. Conjunction of spears. So before default was elves and dwarves. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hi, T for best pal. Good to see you. Sorry, not monsters. Non-humans. Non-humans. Yes. Gnomes, dwarves, elves, humans. Sorry, that's what I meant. I say monsters because people, like humans, consider some non-humans monsters. But still, the fact that humans came way later. And the elf goes, how do you find cohabiting with neighbors from whom, after all, you do differ somewhat? And Geralt goes, I manage. I manage because I have to, because I've no other way out. Because I've overcome the vanity and pride of being different. I've understood that they are a pitiful defense against being different. Because I've understood that the sun shines differently when something changes, but I'm not the axis of those changes. The sun shines differently, but it will continue to shine, and jumping at it with a hoe isn't going to do anything. We've got to accept facts, elf. That's what we've got to learn. It's just like such a good conversation, and it's so well written. It's so well written because it's like, oh yeah, Geralt, you make a good point. Oh yeah, Philavandrel, you make a good point. Oh shit. Why don't you humans, and he keeps calling him a human, humans finally realize that your domination of the world is as natural and repellent as lice multiplying in a sheepskin coat. Like, this elf is trying to get through to him. Like, dude, humans are messing everything up. It's hard. Anyways. Oops. And they kind of agree to just like respect boundaries and stuff. Thanks, Primeval. It's a good one. Strong philosophy. Yeah. I feel like it's two hardened men from marginalized groups. One that can be slightly better acclimated because Geralt can offer things to the humans that elves maybe cannot. And elves are, no matter what they do, they're going to be intimidating to humans. It's tough. We saw it with Yorvith as well. Yes. And then I just love Yen. I love Yen so much. I love Yen so much. I don't really know what else to say about it, but I really love Yen. That's all I can think of right now. Yeah, humans and elves seem to think it's too late to try and reconcile and live peacefully. Yes, they're too proud. Old race came before human, but it does not serve the elves well, right? It's really hard. It's really tough because I get where they're both coming from. I don't think that they should, you know, consider humans as like lice, which is what the word that he used. But at the same time, I get where they're coming from. They are totally not respected and not treated well. Right, Nick. It's true. Yeah. Human arrived from the sea and actually landed first on Skellige's Islands. Okay. Oh, I really want to watch the Witcher animated movie. I think I'm going to react to it. How good was End of the World compared to the show, right? It's such a funny story. I don't even fully remember. I just remember him and Geralt, Dandelion and Geralt getting kidnapped. And I don't remember the show, but it's so much better. Everyone? Humans are always the invasive species, right? Hi, Janice. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for the 2 months. Every city is built on an elven ruin, right? And to like give the example of colonizers and natives, how true is that for them? And like natives, I'll say Native America specifically, they did try to acclimate, and now it's just kind of like, okay, you have these reservations, but the colonizers just messed everything up. And we just like, we built highways and we built McDonald's, and it's just like, this is still not our land. So that's what I think of, you know. And I wish there was a way, like I wish that there was a way that the elves and the humans could coexist. But as long as, well, here's what I'll say, as long as we have people like Radovid in power and Emir, it ain't never gonna happen. So maybe if we had correct rulers. Shan, thank you for gifting us up to Neil. Hello. Good evening. Did you get your COVID test? The ancient book of monster lore. Yes. Oh, you know what yes, that was so cool. Yes. You know what I loved too? That Naneke gave Geralt an incantation and she told him it was an exorcism, and he goes to the genie and he just like yells it, and the genie gets like frustrated and goes away, and then he repeats it to Yen and she just like busts out laughing, and she's like, where did you learn that? And I love that the priestess has a sense of humor and literally taught him how to say go fuck yourself. And he says it to I think like the other people in the village who are trying to deal with them, it's just so funny. And he's just like kind of shy about it. And he's like, I still don't know what it means, but this is what she told me. Hi, Dante. I'm such a nerd. Greed is terrifying. Once you get to power, you change. Once you get to power, you change. Right. And you know what sucks? Well, there have been instances, like not everyone changes because of power. I think there is a way that you can stay humble. But what's sad is the people that would stay humble and the people that would do a good job don't want power. They don't want it. So that's what's tricky. And that's true for politicians today. There are wonderful, wonderful humans that I think could organize things better and organize government better, but they don't want to. Rightfully so, because it fucking sucks and it's hard. The second wish, the guardsman bursting, is so funny. And I will say about Yen, because sometimes I see comments and stuff about on YouTube, especially about how Yen is incredibly toxic and she uses people. She does use people, but I don't think it's toxic because she does what she wants. And correct me if I'm wrong, it didn't clarify it yet, but I think she wanted the genie for her own infertility cure, potentially, right? The genie clearly did it too. Yes, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I might be biased towards her because I relate to her with the scoliosis. I used to have a hunchback. I used to be disabled. Like, I literally had a hunchback. So it made me so emotional when Geralt was looking at her, and like, she's not, the way they describe her isn't like the most beautiful woman in the world by anyone's standards. Like, she's entirely conventionally attractive. It's like, no, she is beautiful in her own way. She's sultry, she's this and this, but Geralt's looking at her to like when they first meet, and he's noticing her lips that are very thin and her angular nose and her shoulder, that is, one shoulder is higher than the other, and I literally teared up because I have a shoulder that is higher than that is such a specific thing about recovering from scoliosis, or like having that hunchback and then either straightening it out. I had a surgery, but I still have those remnants, and like one hip is a little bit higher than the other. And to show this woman who people are drawn to, and she has so much power, and she's beautiful in her own way, and she still has those remnants of her life that it was hard for her. Like, it was very validating, and I'm always going to be biased towards her, but I'm going to try to be like Yen, and I'm going to be honest that I'm biased towards her because I see myself in her, and I see a lot of traits in mine and Caleb's relationship that some people like raise their eyebrows at. I'm not afraid to kind of tell Caleb to do something. I'm not afraid to admit that there are some situations where I feel like, in terms of our household and our family, I might know better. So like, I say it, and it doesn't bother Caleb, but I think to some people it might look weird. But I will say, like, can you go do this? Like, can you go get Una da 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 da? And I guess it's kind of like golden retriever, but also Caleb is very smart, like Geralt, and he will challenge me if needed. But I see a lot of us in that relationship, and I believe that Caleb and I are soulmates, and like, we were drawn to each other instantly. Like, we both knew when we met each other that we were meant to be together. Geralt likes Yen, yes. Thank you, stranger. No one is really symmetric. It's something very relatable, yeah. Yeah, Paragon, yes, I read that this morning. He sees, like, he says he sees her as a hunchback. I literally just opened to it. He saw who she really was before she had become a sorceress. Her cold, penetrating, angry, and wise eyes were those of a hunchback. He was horrified. No, not of the truth. He was horrified that she would read his thoughts. And like, it is such true love because they're worried about each other, seeing each other for who they really are and not choosing to stay. Exactly, dubbed. I think at where you are in the books, both Geralt and Yen simply have too much baggage for a true romance. Yes, and they have their own objectives. That's why I like it. And to me, that is a true romance no matter what happens afterwards. They both have their own objectives. They both have their own shit that they need to do. And when they reconvene, like, hopefully, don't spoil, obviously, but I'm just really hoping at the end of The Witcher 3, they can find some kind of peace together with Ciri, because that would be my ideal. Like, they have to do their separate things. I'm just so attracted to a relationship like that. Like, I don't need the couple to be together all the time, to like go on dates, da 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 da. Like, I love that she's, you know, working with Nilfgaard to find Ciri and blah 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 blah, and then Geralt has to do this and this and this. Like, I like that. Anyways, I can't speak on, like, I'll see later in the books. Once I read the books, I will fight anyone who calls her manipulative. I feel like I can't speak on that yet because I don't know the rest of the books, or like, we haven't done the stuff in the games. And someone left a very rude comment on YouTube and was like, why are you even talking about this? You haven't read all the books yet. And it got to me. So I will say, I don't think she's manipulative so far. I don't think she's toxic. I think it's very easy to just call someone manipulative. Everyone in this chat right now, you think you haven't done one thing to manipulate another person, intentionally or unintentionally, you're wrong. Like, it's not like you can't just write this person off for being toxic. This person's manipulative. I don't even do that with Triss. I think some things that Triss do are manipulative, but I think it's unintentional and she doesn't even realize it because she's insecure. But then I don't say Triss is toxic. Triss is the worst. Triss is a manipulator. No, I still like her. I still really like her. I just feel bad for her. Especially now, I'm like, okay, Geralt has a true love, you know? In the moment, I might get frustrated and be like, she's pretending to be drunk. But ultimately, I'm just like, Triss, I want you to thrive on your own for a bit. Like, I want you to find your own shit and like your own life and vibe. Wait, what merchant or the elf guy? Manipulating. So let's look at the definition of manipulating. Geralt is very straightforward. And so that's different. I will say she will use people to get what she wants for sure. But from what it seems, she has come a long way from the games, even from this book. Like, she matures and grows as a person, probably because of her motherhood for Ciri and then her love with Geralt. Control or influence a person or situation cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. So yeah, she manipulates. Yeah, I think she does manipulate situations and people. And I think that some men might not like that because it's flipping the switch. And that's why I like it, because it's not saying that she's right to do it, but everyone kind of does it to an extent. And the thing is, she's honest about it, and she will say when she lied or if she used a situation, and she grows from there. And then you might still do it again. Like, I just really appreciate a character and a person who can admit, Oh yeah, I manipulated that situation to get what I want. She does it very cleverly. Yes. But I think that men they get nervous about that because when you have a powerful woman, some men can't handle that. Like, she's very powerful. And the truth is, like, yeah, Geralt saved her life. She also saved Dandelion's life. Let's not forget, Dandelion would not have a voice. Dandelion would be practically dead if it weren't for Yennefer. Okay? And so with that in mind, that whole situation, it's fresh in my mind. What was I gonna say? She used that situation, right? She hid stuff from Geralt. She hid stuff from Dandelion. Well, Dandelion was in a haze, but she hid stuff from the town owner or whatever. I think his name is like Neville. I think it's Neville. But you know what she does? She uses Geralt, and it's funny, they laugh about it. The elf too. The elf who has a crush on her. She uses them to like get out of the situation, doesn't inform them of what she wants to do, and they have to figure out that she wants to control the genie. But she tells Dandelion to repeat that it wasn't Geralt's fault when they still think Dandelion can say the wishes. So she uses Dandelion's wish to make sure Geralt is absolved of the issue. Like, if she was truly toxic and manipulative, she wouldn't care. She wouldn't do that. Like, she wouldn't. Dandelion comes running and he's like, it's not Geralt's fault. It's not Geralt's fault. And they're like, what? And he's just like, all I remember is Yen telling me to say it's not Geralt's fault. So like, she used him, but then it's just funny. Like, and they're laughing about it. Yeah, Geralt is the one that suits her best. Yes, she's so sure of herself and assertive and confident. I don't condone a lot of her behavior, but I very much admire her. Yes. I know, that's the thing, Andy, too. It's like, in her mind, for most situations, she knows more than a lot of people. So she didn't trust Geralt completely. Like, if I'm interested in reading more of their experiences together, because I can already tell with the games, they're working together. They're in sync. They had just met. They didn't know each other. She didn't trust him. But she was still considerate and kind and was just like, I'm gonna make sure you survive. And then he could have left her for dead, but then went in and saved her. And I want to say this, I don't know if I can say much because there's a chance that I'm recommended on the front page and stuff. But their first intimate moment, which was after that, guys, it is so different from the show and it pisses me off. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time with them in the books is really written so tastefully and beautifully, and it's about them like finding the romance and the softness and the care for the first time. Like, their sexual experiences before then had been rushed and like not that deep desire and trust. The shows were like, the show was like almost comedic and it was very lustful. And like, it was comedic when people heard, but the elf heard them and it was like she was moaning and they were like, is she okay? She's hurt. Like, what? And the elf's just like, no, that's not what's happening. And they're like, well, what's happening? And he's just like, something I can't put into words. That was their first sexual experience. And it makes me upset because Henry is Team Yen. Henry is Team Yen. Why did you let that happen, Henry? Right, Casey. Like, it's so, and he looks into her eyes and he says he knew she would be everything. And I just love that she wants apple juice, guys. I love it so much. I love that their first meeting is this drunk guy who's like, you have to get her apple juice. She wants apple juice. And she just downs it. She just like chugs 2 apple juices. And then she's also like, I don't wake up before midday. So you're lucky I'm even talking to you. I'm like, goals. Look at this. But also Henry, I understand Henry cannot create the show. He can't change the show. Oh my God, Dark. That's so interesting. They did it in front of a crowd in the ruins of a destroyed house. Right. And it isn't a destroyed house because he saves her and they're fighting. Like they're fighting. So I guess that's why people say it's toxic. But to me, it's not toxic because they're both extremely capable, strong sorcerer and then witcher. And their fights are different than our fights. And also, I want to say, never trust anyone who says they're in a happy relationship and they don't fight and they don't argue, because actually conflict and arguments and getting things out in the open are healthy to an extent if you do it in a healthy way. It can't always be perfectly correct or healthy. But the people that are like, yeah, I don't know, me and my wife don't fight. Like, we never fight. It's great. Don't trust that. I think it's just exaggerated. Like, they're fighting, they're angry at each other, but it's different from human to human because there's not really a power struggle. They're both equal in power, and that's why I love them. They don't hide their feelings. I love the baths that they take too. She's like, you stink. Go take a bath. Hi, Jackson. Oh, the on and off relationship. Right, Viking. And everyone has their own lived experiences. So I have the privilege, and not even privilege, because Caleb and I put a lot of work into our relationship, but we've been together for over 5 years. That's a long time. And we grew up together like them. And if the circumstances weren't right, we would have been on and off again. It actually, sorry, it's normal, especially if you have 2 powerful people that have to do their own things and have to basically save the world. Like Geralt is trying to save the world by saving Ciri, and it's gonna make sense that they're on and off. And yeah, it is tumultuous, but that's what true love is. Oh my God, Nesty. Triss recasting. Q1, are you talking about Batman City or Batman animated series? Jackson, how are you doing? We're nerding out. I just want to find where he's talking about her. It's so sweet. Dandelion. It's not Geralt's fault. I love Dandelion so much. And I love that Yennefer, she saves him, okay? She saves his voice. That's everything to him. But she enters this state of this magical state where she can reveal like what really is in his head. And it's literally just women, music, and some poetry. Like he's just no thoughts, head empty, but Dandelion's the best. He's annoying, but he's the best. Oh, as he's entering the nothingness, which is the genie flipping shit around, destroying the town, right before he goes in, he asks the priest, what did I say to the genie? What did the priestess tell me to say? And he goes, it's your last wish, so I'll tell you. It means, essentially, get out of here and go fuck yourself. Geralt entered the nothingness where cold stifled the laughter, which was shaking him. I love that. He's just like going into the nothingness laughing. That, I want that tattooed on my body. Geralt entered the nothingness where cold stifled the laughter, which was shaking him. Write it on my tombstone. Write it on my tombstone. Like, that's how I want to go. I just want to laugh through the nothingness. That's honorary for Professor Dandelion to you. Hi, Rob. Welcome, welcome. Oh, a makeover. Yeah, didn't she not have red hair and then she put red hair? That's fine. Like, I didn't mind. I thought she added a kind of strength to Triss, like a more self-assured. I don't know. Hi, Inifex. Yeah, that's totally valid, Nick. That's the thing with these books and the games. There's something for everyone. The friendship alone is so impactful and meaningful, and I would say his relationship with Dandelion, how Dandelion is like a damsel in distress sometimes, and the things he goes through with him and the love that they share for each other is in some ways better than a romance. And I felt that with the Winter Soldier too, with Bucky and Steve. I was like, this is almost better than a romance. It's like Frodo and Sam, where I love that because it's like turning toxic masculinity on its head, because men should be able to hug each other and, you know, kiss each other and say I love you, and like that should be allowed, like society allows it with women between two men. Like, it's cute, and I just really appreciate any piece of media where two men can be like close like that. Grain of truth. I don't know what that is. Oh, nice. Hi, Navarro. Oh my God, Winter. No. Okay, cool. You know, honestly, I keep an open mind about everything. I keep an open mind about most video games. Like, I just take what I need and leave the rest behind. You know, okay, so here. Yen's like, give your last wish, Geralt. Hurry up. What do you desire? Immortality, riches, fame, power, might, privileges. Hurry, da-da-da-da-da. Just say it. And he stays silent. She stood over him in the flickering radiance of the wizard's sphere, in the glow of magic, amidst the flashes of rays restraining the djinn, streaming hair and eyes blazing violet. Erect, slender, dark, terrible, and beautiful. All of a sudden, she leaned over and looked him in the eyes. He caught the scent of lilac and gooseberries. You're not saying anything. What is it you desire? But he suddenly knew the truth. He knew it. He knew what she used to be. It gets to the hunchback part. The ceiling cracked. Oh, wait. Yennefer leapt to meet the djinn. Light beamed from her hands, very feeble light. The djinn opened his mouth and stretched his paws toward her. The Witcher suddenly understood what it was he wanted, and he made his wish. What was it? What was it? Oh, Nivellen and the Bruxa? Oh my gosh. I like that. Well, the show was pretty close to that, but I like how instantly it's just kind of like Nivellen is a shit. Almost everyone's a shit in the Witcher universe. What do you think his last wish was? She goes, that wish of yours, I heard what you wished for. I was astounded, simply astounded. I'd have expected anything but to, what made you do it, Geralt? Why me? And he goes, don't you know? She leaned over him, touched him. He felt her hair. Da-da-da-da-da. Yennefer kissed him, and he understood that he'd never desire any lips other than hers. At Triss stands. Just kidding. She goes, your wish. Oh, wait. He gazed into her violet eyes, the most beautiful eyes in the world. The eyes which he feared would become ... everything. He knew. Triss watching like, no, and what pisses me off is that she knows this is happening between them, and I don't know exactly how it starts. I think Caleb told me they go on like they cut off, or they are in an off part of their relationship, and then is like, oh, let me get some of that. Girl, if I saw people looking at each other like that, that's brave. Your wish, she whispered, her lips very near his ear. I don't know whether such a wish can ever be fulfilled. I don't know whether there's such a force in nature that could fulfill such a wish. But if there is, then you've condemned yourself to me. He interrupted her with a kiss, an embrace, a touch, caresses, and then with everything. Okay, I can't read the next part. The whole world had ceased to exist for a brief moment, but to them it seemed like a whole eternity. But look, they were caring and tender, and although neither quite knew what caring and tenderness were, they succeeded because they very much wanted to, and they were in no hurry whatsoever. That is so, like, that is not what the shows showed, okay? Oh yeah, Sam said. Oh yeah. He would have to bind. Yeah, but what do y'all think? What do y'all think? What did he say?